Hey, everybody, this is Gary with Kreth and Scott Holmes. And by the way, wanted to let you know before we get started, would love it if you would head over to the chat section and let us know where you're calling in from. Would love to know, gosh, what part of the country you're calling in from. So let us know, head on over to the chat section and say where you're calling from. And then we are going to get started at the top of the hour. And yes, everything looks frozen because it is, but we'll be back. Don't worry.
Hey, everybody, this is Chris Scott here at the Paperless Agent, and we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. For those of you guys wondering, I think Luke asked the question, is this live? Yes, this webcast will be live today, and we're going to get started in just about 4 minutes at the top of the hour. If you're looking at my screen and you see a picture of Gary and me on a computer, our characters, you're looking at a computer of a screen with us, of us looking at that computer. Let that blow your mind for a second. Anyway, we're going to get started in just a couple of moments.
Mind blown.
Mind blown. So, I guess while you're hanging out here, do me a favor. Go ahead to the chat feature and let us know where you're calling in from. And do me a favor because we're talking about something that it's a really exciting topic for us to cover. We feel like we've got some expertise in this area. I know Gary for sure has a tremendous amount of expertise, over 2 decades of sales hacking experience. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But I would like to know what the one thing is that you'd like to take away from today's session. And then I'll try and customize where I can what we're going to talk about. So I'll see you in the chat section in just a few moments.
All right.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're dialing in from. This is Chris Scott and
Gary Kreth, and we are here at Kreth and Scott Homes and the Paperless Agent. And welcome to today's live training. We have got a power-packed hour and maybe hour and a half for you, depending on how long you can stick around for. But we've got a lot to cover, Chris.
We do, and we have a very exciting topic. We're essentially going to cover the topic of hacking sales.
I love that topic. So now, as we get started, before we get started, I do want to take a moment and do a little bit of housekeeping. I want to make sure that everybody here knows how everything operates here within this platform. So number one, Chris and I are going to be doing training for about 50 to 55 minutes nonstop. But here's where we need your help. We need you to communicate with us in the chat section. As questions pop into your mind, if you need more clarification on something, or if you want us to address something in Q&A, pop your question over there into the chat section. We have a team who's going to be flagging the questions. And then at the end of the training, we're going to talk about some additional tools and resources available to you so you can continue expanding your knowledge base. And then we're going to do at least 30 minutes of Q&A. So we need you highly engaged here. Pay attention, take notes, and ask questions.
Yeah, I'm already seeing some really good questions popping
Yep.
in there, Gary. We see that someone wants to know how to combat that dreaded question of, will you discount your commission?
Oh, we can talk all about
We can
that.
talk about that one. We should definitely talk about that one. We should also cover, looks like Janet was asking about how to convert open houses to appointments. Well, you know, a lot of this comes down to the languaging that we use and the processes that we use. And
Yeah.
so I'm really excited to talk about this. Now, I will preface something with you guys. And I have this little factoid on my screen here. And it's something that should make us all pause and think.
Yes.
Right. So here's a little observation that one of the greatest sales trainers in history ever noted. He noted that most salespeople believe anyone can learn to sell in 2 weeks. Right. Most of us, and here's the thing, I think sometimes I believe this. Like, how many of us have a sales problem but think it might be us? How many of, I mean, seriously, like, hey, I will blame my leads. I will blame the quality of leads. I will blame the buyers, the seller. I'll blame anybody but my own lack of skill. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, you shared this stat with me yesterday, and I was like, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard.
well, here's the thing. This was from a trainer who trained over 72,000 sales professionals over 5 decades. And the same thing kept coming up is most people felt like, I already know how to sell pretty well,
Right.
But rather it's this other problem that's the issue. And what his observation was like, look, it took me a decade to master this. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think that what's really exciting about what we're going to be talking about today is that we've got somebody here with us who has literally over 2 decades of mastering the craft of being a salesperson in hacking sales and having sales skills and sales knowledge and ultimately sales mastery. And that's our very own Gary Kreth. In fact, Gary, you are the sales and business development expert. You have 21 years of top producing real estate sales experience. Guys, get this. At the peak of his real estate career, he was going on 6 listing appointments every single week. I can't tell you just how much that put him into a position where he had to combat that objective on, or that objection on the daily, where someone's saying, will you discount your commission, Gary? Will you discount your commission? He's been featured by Apple Computer. He's a commercial and residential real estate investor. He's a real estate tech investor and advisor. But Gary, here's the thing. And I know you told me this. You weren't born a salesperson.
There's no such thing.
You became a salesperson.
Absolutely.
over time.
Now, let me ask you this, Chris. Are people born doctors?
No, you have to learn those skills.
They're skills. You're not a born lawyer. These are all skills that we need to obtain. But I think that we're going to talk about this of what sales is and what it isn't. So if you're sitting there and you get this queasy thing and you're going on in your gut when you hear salesperson, I do too. But it's simply because we have different interpretations of what that is. And we're going to address that in a moment. But before we do, this guy right here sitting next to me is my business partner here at the Paperless Agent and at our real estate firm, Kreth and Scott Homes. This is Chris Scott. Chris is a digital marketing expert, and you have been ever since digital was digital. In fact, before digital, Chris, you were the head of the consumer marketing division for Brian Buffini for 11 years. You worked side by side with him. And then after that, you ran the sales and marketing divisions for a 2-time Inc. 500 winning company. You guys won that 2 years in a row.
We did.
Which is an incredible accomplishment. And so you're going to be learning about sales from me, but you're going to be learning about lead generation and marketing and nurturing relationships electronically from this guy right here. And right now, by the way, I want to mention Chris right now is generating over 6,000 leads a month online. So with that, let's get into this.
Let's dive in. Here, I got a question for you guys to think about. And let's have some fun with this, Gary. But when you guys think of sales, what kind of images come to mind? Because usually when I think of sales,
right,
it's not the best things that come to mind. In fact, sometimes I do a little bit of selling, but I never think of myself as a salesperson.
And it's because you have a different interpretation of what sales is. Let's take a look at some images.
Right. Well, here's one of the things that come to mind for me. Show me the money, Gary.
Well, it's not just that. It's that like there are other cheesy salespeople out there and forceful salespeople out there that we see on TV and we see in movies. Here's another one I want to point out is
classic.
Put that coffee down. Coffee is for closers. And it's like, always be closing. And so this is where we're learning of what sales is, Chris. And this is not what sales is.
Well, this is a classic, but this is how many of us, when we think of sales, these different types of images come to mind, or these different types of characters come to mind, or even characteristics, right? And so we don't like to even really associate ourselves with salespeople oftentimes, but we like to think of more of being a professional. We're a consultant, we're advisors, we're trusted advisors, right? And those are good things. However, ultimately, we must, if we want to serve a lot of people, must have some sales skills and do some selling, regardless of whether we identify with being a salesperson or not. We still need those skills, right? Here's one that I found, Gary, when I was preparing this. You can't seem to go too far in real estate and talking about sales without someone saying you need to do more cold calling. And I think most of us, this is kind of how we feel about cold calling. I don't know about you guys, but in preparation for this presentation, I've done a lot of research on sales because I wanted to be able to ask you good questions, Gary. And one of the things that I kept coming across was people saying, I make 100 calls a day, 100 cold calls a day, 100 cold calls a day. And that would drive me insane.
Well, let me ask you something, Chris. How long are you going to persist in an activity that you abhor, that you cannot stand?
I would probably do it once.
Yeah, you do it once and done. And let me ask you, do you love cold calling? I don't. And in fact, there are much better ways of taking care of clients and selling. So with that, Chris, let's actually investigate what sales is, because I think this, if we can shift your mindset of what sales is before we actually get into sales skills, I think you'll be able to be more receptive and open to this.
Well, yeah, and this is not really traditional in this sense of what people think of selling,
right?
Because I think, first off, and you showed me this, Gary, is that sales is a process.
Yes,
right?
It is a process. It's not a pushy shoving thing. It's not me taking whatever I have to sell and just shoving it down your throat. It is a process.
It's a psychological process, right?
Is.
That happens in the customer's mind,
yes.
Not in our mind.
No.
It's a process that happens in the customer's mind, right? So if you were to think of it as that first and say, well, gosh, if it's a process and it's happening in the customer's mind, if I understand that process, maybe I could conform to it better to get a better result.
Yeah, and ultimately, Chris, it is a full process that is designed to do one thing, and that is to build trust with your customer. Because as your customer trusts you, what happens is that they accept your advice. They accept the offers that you're making to them. So the sales process is all about building trust.
Well, the more trust you develop in the marketplace, the lower your cost of sale becomes, right? Because the more customers that trust you, the more word of mouth you build, the easier it is to generate a customer because you're not having to spend so much getting them in the first place.
Yep.
Right? So building that trust. But Gary, you've said that one of the keys to sales is asking powerful questions and then just sitting back and listening, right?
So that you just nailed something. Listening is another skill, because here's what most of us are doing. We have a voice inside of our head, at least one, multiples.
We might have two or three.
We are realtors. I mean, come on, we've got a lot going on. But the thing is that the listening skill is about shutting off that voice in your head, because that voice in your head is listening to somebody with the intention of responding as soon as they shut their trap.
Right.
But instead, what listening skills are is really focusing on what the other person is sharing, understanding that, and then processing before you respond.
Gotcha.
That is a skill of listening.
Well, I mean, it seems to me, Gary, that rather than us doing the talking, it would be better if the client could have the answers, come up with the right answers themselves, right?
So here's a great thing here, Chris. During my initial phone consultation, which here's a little foreshadowing, we're going to talk a lot about an initial phone consultation. But during my initial phone consultation, my goal is to speak 10% of the time and listen 90% of the time.
Well, when the client's talking, they are clarifying for themselves what they want, right? And then once we understand what they want, we just got to show them how to go get it.
That's exactly right. So we're going to talk more about that, but it's about listening for the intention of understanding the needs, the wants, the concerns, and the desires of another human being.
Now, I'd like to put everybody on their heels just a little bit, Gary.
Okay.
I want to ask you guys, and I want you to think about this. Do you consider yourself a professional, or are you an order taker? Now, let me explain what an order taker is, Gary. An order taker is somebody who does just that. They are waiting to be told what the customer wants, right? So they're waiting. They're waiting for the phone to ring, perhaps, for the customer to call them, or maybe they're waiting for an email to show up, or they're waiting for a lead to show up. You know, they're really waiting very intently for somebody to need their help, right?
So this is like going through a drive-through.
Yes.
And the person says, "What would you like to order?"
Yes.
That's an order
the
taker.
person's there. They don't have to go get the person. The person drives up.
But here's another. If you want to talk about real estate, Chris, an order taker is a production builder's sales representative who sits in a model home. They are order takers. They sit there and wait for people to walk through the door.
Here, you know what? I think that many of us might sometimes be order takers. We're waiting for the email to show up. We're waiting for someone to call us. We're not doing proactively the steps to find a customer. And here's what else. We're waiting for the customer to tell us what they want. Oh, I'm looking for a home in this area. I'm looking for it with this features, right? So here's the thing. In order for us to be successful, however, you know, order takers get paid like order takers. Professionals get paid like professionals. And there's a big distinction, right?
There's a big distinction and a big delta between the two. So let's take a look at what order takers do versus what professionals do.
And here's the thing. I want you guys to look at yourself and do some self-analysis here. When I was putting this together and I was researching it, I can't tell you how frequently I fall into the category of order taker in lots of circumstances, right? And I think that it was helpful for me to have this distinction between, gosh, if this is, and it's okay. It's actually okay to sometimes realize, you know what, sometimes I might be doing these activities and I should be doing these instead. So why don't you guys go ahead and just take note of what these different differences are between the order taker versus the professional. I think the first one is, Gary, you oftentimes talk about how important it is to have market knowledge. Like,
it's critical.
You can't pass go. You can't even get started without market knowledge. And that's one of the distinctions, right? What's market knowledge and what's the distinction here?
So an order taker will research a house, a CMA, a neighborhood, after a client says, hey, I'm interested in that neighborhood or I'm interested in that house.
Gotcha.
A professional already has market knowledge and has knowledge about that neighborhood, even maybe that home, before they speak with a prospective client.
So that's an that means that's a set of activities one must do ongoing to hold that market knowledge, right? The next thing, and I kind of talked about this one, was waiting to be contacted versus a professional doesn't wait to be contacted. They create context for conversations. Think of this as doing effective marketing. And by the way, guys, we're going to go through each one of these professional distinctions in great detail and give you real world examples. So we're going to give you examples of each one of these things and even some examples of tools that you can go out and use and implement the professional side of this equation. An order taker wings it. How many of us are guilty of winging a listing appointment?
Oh man, I've done this. I've made so many mistakes walking into an appointment and just winging it. And that came it came out of arrogance. I'm like, I got this. I got this one. I walk in, I wing it, and I walk out without the listing agreement. But A professional uses a pre-approach, and that's a deep conversation in and of itself.
Well, here's the difference is winging, let's use the listing appointment as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Is the professional knows that professional needs to get information from the prospect or from the customer first.
Right.
Like, you can't serve the customer without some really basic information in terms of understanding what they want, what they need, what they're concerned about. In fact, you really can't conduct a sales appointment in the first place without that information.
In fact, Chris, winging it shows a great disrespect for your customer, because what you're basically saying is, I don't really care about their specific situation. I just know what their house is worth and I'm going to go sell it.
Right.
That's not the way to do this.
We're going to show you guys Gary's tool that he uses for his pre-approach. It's called the initial consultation.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you how this connects to the next step. And the next distinction for a professional is a professional guides through a selling process. Now, we alluded to sales being a process, whereas an order taker is directed by clients and prospects. An example of that would be an order taker is waiting there. Maybe they have a customer that they're working with. They get a call on Saturday morning saying, I want to go see this house.
Right.
I want to go see this right now.
A professional says, hey, Chris, I understand what you're looking for. In fact, I have a list of 5 homes I'd like to show you because I believe one of these is going to match every single one of your needs.
So huge difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Huge difference. Now, once you understand there's a process for this, these things that might seem difficult to do, like even handling different objections, or they go away because a person is just walking through the process with you being that advisor. I think the last distinction here, and this is what I'm most guilty of, Gary.
Sure.
This happens to me all the time. I get distracted by gimmicks and gadgets. I see the next app, I see the next little whiz bang marketing thing, and I'm like, oh, we got to use that.
So this is what we call the shiny penny syndrome. Is you see a shiny penny, you got to bend down and pick it up because you're like, oh, this might do everything that I need. Professionals are experts who use tools to enhance the experience, to reduce the sales cycle, and to take better care of their clients.
So, that's a big difference there, is me getting distracted by different tools and technologies versus being systematic in my approach in researching, developing, and implementing different tools, right? And that's
absolutely.
The professional.
And by the way, that's what we do is we vet all of these tools, we build best practices, and then we teach our clients, you guys, exactly how to use them.
So I want to talk a little bit about the market knowledge piece, but I wanted to share kind of a startling stat with everybody.
Yeah.
So I was in preparation for today's training. I came across this statistic that 75% of clients know more about our products than we do. This means that when we're working with a client, we're looking at a house, for example, 3 out of 4 times they know more about that house than we do.
I'd like to share an experience.
Yes.
I recently bought a new car.
Yes.
When I walked into the dealership, I knew more about the car, the specifics, the features than the salesperson did. But here's why. Because he's an order taker.
Right.
He's sitting back. He has a fleet of several different brands that he represents. And he's like, yeah, I just know the basics and I know the prices.
Right.
Right. And so, but I walked in and we got into the car and I asked him a question. I'm like, what's the horsepower on this? He goes, I'll have to look that up. I said, no, that's okay. I already know it's 600. And I said, what's the top speed on this? And he goes, I'm going to have to look that up because we just got this car in. I'm like, no, you've had this car for a year. And this is, so I knew the specifics and they didn't. How many times are we as realtors caught off guard when a potential buyer knows more about the home, the value, and the features of that home in that neighborhood than we do?
Well, a lot of times that might be we haven't even viewed the inventory that's on the market or in a particular neighborhood. And it's the first time we're walking in that house.
Yep.
And all of a sudden we're like, oh, wow, maybe this isn't a good fit for the client.
That's exactly right. And so gaining that market knowledge is really, really critical.
So what should they know, Gary? I mean, you put together a list of this is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And by the way, in my next slide, I'm going to give you a very tactical, easy to implement plan. I don't want you to see this as something where you have to memorize all this stuff. We've got an easy way that you'll just be able to retain this. But these are just some of the things that you should know, right? Like number of homes in the neighborhood, right? Number of homes, the current listings.
Who are the builders? What kind of architectural style? What's the sold to list price ratio in that neighborhood? What are the development plans? What are the schools like? what's the turnover rate in this neighborhood? What's the demographic in this neighborhood? You need to know all of these when you're specializing in a specific region. But this should not blow your mind like, oh my gosh, I have to go memorize all of this.
Now, this is something that you over time develop when you start doing the right activities, right? When you look at gaining market knowledge, you can actually, that's considered a sales activity, right? The work that you do to develop your market knowledge is part of your sales expertise development, right?
Absolutely.
So we put together, just based on what Gary does, I put together a little 7-point market knowledge action plan for you guys to use. You can actually just write these things down. You can start doing this, part of this you can start doing today.
Absolutely.
First step is just limit the scope of the markets that you're going to master initially.
Yeah, and by the way, this is not just geographic. It doesn't have to be geographic. In fact, I limit my scope of the specific markets that I work in to the luxury market, and luxury in Austin is anything over $1 million. So what I need to do is I need to know the inventory of everything in that. But first, you have to limit your scope. You can't be a master of all.
No, you have specialization, right?
It is specialization. And in fact, I think in real estate, we get so stuck. Somebody was talking about, oh my gosh, I just got into real estate. I got to make money right now. And it's like, well, you need to specialize. You can't be a master of all. What you are is you're a jack of all, a master of none.
Well, and here's the thing. If you just got in, you need market knowledge, because as you start to serve customers, it's going to become very apparent if you haven't done your homework.
Absolutely.
Right?
So point number 2 here is research if local property tour, a broker tour, is available and scheduled to go on it. And again, this could be a luxury tour. Here in Austin, we have something called the Austin Luxury Market or Austin Luxury Network. And they have tours. So you need to research a local tour. And here's, what I found, Chris? This is what's fascinating with most broker opens or broker tours, is that the only brokers or realtors who go on these tours are the realtors who have their listings on the tours. And they're only there because they're required to be there. What I found in my career is that if I want to specialize, I want to go on that tour to gain market knowledge. I also want to build rapport. You'll see number 7, build rapport with the agents who are knowledgeable and experienced in that area. They're the ones who have the listings. So I'm building rapport and we'll talk about that in a second, but you've got to go on those tours.
And get updates. I mean, you should be in there every day, right?
Yep.
Finding out what's going on, but even just set little notifications in the MLS. Every time something happens, you should know.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, is that the MLS search in my MLS, it's called a hot sheet, is I set up searches and I'm notified every time a home goes on the market, goes pending, or closes, because I need to have that market knowledge.
One of the best ways to get market knowledge is to get out of the office, get off the computer, and go see the inventory on the market.
And here's what I would recommend, is schedule one afternoon every week to preview new inventory in the market. Add that on top of the property tour. So you need to spend time. This is called market research. By the way, this is not new. This is not, oh my gosh, blowing my mind. Market research has been around in every single market, from clothing to homes to cars to whatever it is that you're selling. It's been around since the beginning of sales.
Well, and that's also how you create value for your customer, is if you go out and you preview that inventory. I mean, here's a little trick, right? You're out previewing inventory and it makes you think of a client who might like a home like this, snap a photo and send it to them.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, you can get very guerrilla marketing with that. If you're in doing the activity, is that you're creating market knowledge. Now you start sharing that market knowledge, because once you have it, it starts to drip off you like honey. People want to start tasting that honey and say, well, that honey tastes pretty good. Maybe I should buy the whole bottle.
By the way, I want to address something. Pamela says, how does this apply to buyer's agents? And then Jeannie says, but I'm a listing specialist. It doesn't matter what you specialize in. This could be listings or buyers.
Well, heck,
you have to have market knowledge, whether you're representing sellers or buyers. I mean, so this is pertinent to everybody.
How would you price a home without looking into the market to see what the competition for the home is?
Impossible.
If you just price it off what the comps and what spits out off the data, but you actually don't go look at the inventory that it's competing against, you don't have. I mean, I'll tell you what, I mean, a lot can be done with Doctor and photos. It's amazing how those photographers can turn a listing into something quite beautiful, So
next, research development plans. So this is where it's important to if you need to go down to the city, if you need to meet with developers and find out what's going to be happening in a specific area of town or in a specific submarket, you need to know what's going to be happening. Next, attend homeowners association meetings if possible. Oh my gosh, if you can understand what an HOA is doing in a specific submarket, critical and huge value add to anybody interested in buying or selling.
Now, going to that property tour, building rapport, if you're a listing agent or you're a buyer's agent, you guys should probably talk together a little bit. As a listing agent, you might want to have somebody that could hold the home open for you, right? So that you can report back to the seller the good things, but you don't want to do it. And as a buyer's agent, what better way to pick up clients than to hold the home open? But you have to ask the right questions and you have to do the right marketing. Yeah. So let's move on to creating context for the conversations, right? So granted, let's say I spend lots of time getting my market knowledge,
right?
But now I need conversations to happen.
Yes. And so what Chris means by creating context is you have got to produce something that creates the topic of conversation. So Chris, let's talk about some fundamental marketing rule that you shared with me. This blew my mind because had I known this fundamental marketing rule early in my career, I probably would have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars of marketing dollars that I just threw down the drain.
So once we have market knowledge, now we're ready to talk to the market itself, right?
Yes.
Here's the thing. What we don't want to do is wait for the market to contact us, right? We have to go
because
out.
That's an order taker.
That's an order taker. Right. We actually have to go out, be proactive, and create the conversations that are going to happen. In order to make the conversations happen, we got to do marketing. Here's a little fundamental marketing rule: right person, right message, right time. Most of us, when we think of doing marketing, we're sending the wrong message to the wrong people, and we're doing it any time of day. We're not doing what is really, it's essential for us to be able to get our messages through to the right people. Now, what I'm going to do, Gary, is I'm going to show everybody a very specific campaign that you've designed that does just that. It identifies who the right people are, puts the right message in front of them at the right time. And what this does, this creates a context for a conversation, right? So we call this campaign our Move Up program, or our Move Up Home Buyer program. And I want to show you guys the different steps that are involved with it. But here's the thing I want you to note.
Okay.
Right. And if everyone could pay attention to this as we dive into the example of this campaign, is that a result of adhering to the principles of right person, right message, right time, we're provoking a conversation.
Yes.
Right.
And it's the conversation that we want to have.
Yep. And once we do that, right, we can talk to more people.
Yep.
And we get to start employing some of the higher level sales hacks that we're going to cover, such as the pre-approach, such as the sales process itself, right? And we'll even get into objection handling. So let's go through the Move Up Home Buyer program, Gary. There's 3 distinct steps. This is a little bit, now there's some work involved here, guys, right? There's a little bit of work involved. However, here's what you're going to find, that it makes it easy to talk to the right people. A lot of times when we're afraid to talk to people because we don't even think they're not in the market,
right?
Or we don't want to beat people over the head. Mm-hmm. We might think that, oh, now's the time to tell them I'm a realtor. Now I'm just going to bump them over the head with it. No. Like if you do a little bit of homework, by the way, you'll see the consistent theme throughout all of this and all of sales is do your freaking homework, right? Like, do your homework and know the market. Do your homework and do the marketing to the right people. So Gary, can you talk people through the 3 parts to this campaign?
Absolutely. So number 1 is that I want to share with everybody, if you need a boost in sales right now, do this.
Okay. So Gary came up, he responded to this when I asked him the question, if your next meal depended on you getting a listing or getting a sale, what would you do? And here's what he did.
This is what I created. And I said, this is what I would do. Number 1 is research your database and find the people in your database who have been living in the same house for more than 3 years. And Chris is like, well, why is that? I said, well, because statistically right now, on average, people are moving every 3 to 7 years. So what I need to know is who are those people so that I can make that offer to them. They're the right person, then I need to craft the right message. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, how do I do that? Well, number 1, is in your database or your Rolodex or your Excel spreadsheet or whatever it is, go through person by person and research in tax records and the MLS where they live and find out when they bought their home. And then document it in your database. You want to have that home purchase anniversary date. and you do this for everybody in your database. Then you sort by the people who have owned their home for more than 3 years. Step number 1.
Got it. Check.
Step number 2, produce a quick CMA to show them an estimate of their home's value and send it to them. And here's the thing, my dad used to sell real estate eons ago, and I researched to find out how long would it take him to produce a CMA. Back in the day when they had the books, it would take him about 8 hours.
Eesh.
Now, I can do it in 3 minutes using technology.
All right, so I'm getting a short list of people who are probably thinking of moving in the near future, right? They might not be thinking of moving next week, but they've lived in their home for 3-4 years. They're seasoning to where they're going to be thinking about it probably in the next 6, 12, 18 months.
And here's the thing, Chris, is that if they're not thinking about it, what I just did by sending them that CMA, it made them start thinking about it.
It made them start thinking about it because they're like, honey, we have $80,000 in this house. Can you imagine what kind of home we could buy?
That's exactly right. So it's really important to build that database, have the correct data in there, and then produce something of value. Then step number 3, you follow up by picking up the phone, sending them messages, and creating ads for a move-up home buyer program and posting that in Facebook and Instagram to be in front of them.
Now, I think one of the best ways, Gary, to show everybody the essence of this campaign is to show them the cover email that they would attach to the CMA. I'm just going to read it for everybody, right? So this is the cover email that you would attach to the CMA while you're sending it out. So
by the way, take a snapshot of this screen, copy everything that we're doing. We don't care.
Yeah, no, grab this. It says, hey, Gary, in viewing my records, it looks like you've been in your home for over 4 years. Isn't it amazing how time flies? Out of curiosity, I took the liberty of running a market analysis on your home to see its current estimated value. You can see the analysis attached to this message. Did you know your home's value has increased by approximately 20% in the last 4 years? That's an $80,000 increase. Historically, people move every several years as we go through life's changes. If you're thinking of moving in the next 18 months, I wanted you to know about my Move Up Buyer program. When you sell your home with me and buy another one within 90 days, I'll give you a 1% rebate on the purchase of your next home. Are you curious about what's for sale? If you'd like access to my customized home search tools, send me a quick message. Thanks. Love, Chris. P.S. If you have friends or family members who could benefit from my Move Up Buyer program, please tell them about it. Because of you, I'd be happy to make this program available to them.
Absolutely. And so what you're doing here is you're addressing a concern of theirs, and that is we need to move because of life's changes. Mm-hmm. Number 2, you're offering something of huge value, and that is a reduction in your fee or a rebate of a part of your fee. And you're creating a referral tool so that they can then refer you business. Huge value add to everybody here.
Well, I mean, that's a big thing is that here they probably know somebody who's moving, and you just gave them a powerful reason to refer you so that they can look like a hero to their friends and family members, right? Because they're like, they have a conversation with someone who says that they're moving. They're like, oh, you got to use Gary. You got to use Gary. He's got this great Move Up Buyer program. Let me forward you the details.
Yeah. And then by the way, if you're in a market where people are normally downsizing, just call it a move down program. You can customize it however you need to. But when you offer them a rebate, this is huge incentive.
Right. And then you want to follow up. Follow up is the key. You send that initial message, upload your database to Facebook, and then run an ad that looks like this, where it's just marketing that Move Up Home Buyer program to the same people that you sent it to. But do then more than just the ads. You want to call them. You want to message them. You want to be diligent in your follow up and just say, wanted to make sure you got that CMA and to see if you have any questions.
Now, I want to address something. Henry says rebate 1%. So essentially, we're discounting our commission. No. So I need you to change your thinking about this. This is a mental shift for you. What this is called it's called a business development investment. This is not reducing your commission. You are not reducing it. What you're doing is you're offering clients an incentive to do business with you by rebating them something. So by the way, Chris, let me share with everybody here is I used to represent builders. When builders had 60, 70, 80 homes that they needed me to list and sell for them, would I charge them the same commission, the same success fee, if you will, as I would for a single individual home?
Well, of course not, because you don't have the cost of acquisition like that you would if you were to go find that business elsewhere.
That's exactly right. So this is a business development expense. This is offering somebody an incentive to transact with you multiple times.
This is essentially the equation of double ending a deal, right? I mean, it's not exactly, because normally when you double end a deal, you
Get the buyer and the seller,
right? But you're getting the same. You're getting two transactions out of the one.
Yep.
Now, if you could double end every single deal that you were working on, you wouldn't have to spend so much money on all the other peripheral stuff.
No.
In which case, you could invest that money back into your clients.
Yep.
Now, whether you decide to give them a rebate or some other form of incentive, right? But the goal is that you realize that your cost of acquisition goes down. Who should benefit when your cost of acquisition goes down? Well, your client should.
Well, I think everybody should.
Right?
I'm winning.
Right.
They're winning. Everybody's winning.
Right. And the other thing is too, well, I won't get into that. I was going to say, everyone has a different commission structure. They have a different fee structure, right? So before you
figure out what works for you, talk to your broker, get approval to implement it, and go do it.
Now, I will say this, that it's not going to benefit you for finding reasons why not to do something. It will benefit you more to find out reasons on how you can do things.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So I want to move on though, because we got to move quickly on to using the pre-approach, because I want to spend a lot of time on this one, Gary. Let's say now we start we've got market knowledge. We're running campaigns that develop more conversations. Now we're starting to get more opportunities.
The pre-approach.
Right. So the pre-approach, we call this initial consultation,
Yep.
right? So the initial consultation, you do it for buyers, you do it for sellers, right? Yep. I'm going to show you a template of what we use, and we're going to talk about in detail this template. But Gary, I wanted to run a quick poll for everybody.
Okay, let's do this.
And the poll is, do you guys, how long is your initial phone consultation with your customers before you go on a listing appointment or before you have a buyer consultation?
Yeah, so head on over to, I think this poll just popped up. Head on over there, click on the button. Do you spend less than 5 minutes, 6 to 15 minutes, 15 to 30, or more than 30 minutes on your initial phone consultation? This is really going to help us understand where you are, what your standard practice is, and it will certainly help us kind of design this conversation for you. So hop on over there, let us know how long you're spending. And then Chris, would you do me a favor? Would you pull up that initial consultation template? Could you expand that? Can you zoom in just a little bit so people might be able to see that a little bit better? There we go. All right.
So I think this must be the ultimate sales hack, Gary. You know why?
Why is that?
The key to getting the client to move forward with us is being able to connect what they want, what they need, what they're interested in, what they're concerned about, and specifically showing them how we will deliver on those things. When we work with them, we're going to take care of what they need. We're going to take care of what they want. We're going to take care of what their concerns are. We want them to be able to specifically see that we understand what those things are and that we're going to show them how to overcome them or how to realize those objectives. Now, we can't do those things unless we understand what they are. Now, when we go on a sales appointment, we should not be doing discovery on a sales appointment.
No.
No, when you're on a sales appointment, at that point, you should already understand what they need, what they want, but you can't if you don't do an initial consultation.
So let's take a look at the results of the poll.
Yeah.
So Chris, 17% of our viewers spend less than 5 minutes on the initial consultation. 53% spend 6 to 15 minutes. And 28% spend up to 30 minutes, and 0 spend more than 30 minutes.
Well, Gary, I think by the end of just this section of the presentation, you guys are going to start spending more time on this, because there's no way you can optimize your time when you're actually on the appointment and to secure that listing or to secure that buyer in advance without understanding this critical step here.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Chris, I'm going to share with everybody how long I spend.
How long do you spend?
Minimum 30 minutes.
Minimum 30 minutes.
Minimum 30 minutes. And here's why. There's multiple purposes to the initial consultation. The biggest purpose is to build trust with the customer.
Gotcha.
And I can't do that in 5 minutes. I can't do that in 10 minutes. I can't do that in 20 minutes. So what I have designed over 21 years of sales experience and building up to expertise is a process through which I ask specific questions to the client about who they are, about what their needs, their concerns, their interests, their experience, their price range, everything. I go in depth about absolutely everything about who they are, about who their family is, if they have a family, what they want out of life, and how do I fit into this?
Well, here's a very important step, guys. First off, use a template for this. Don't try to wing this. Don't try to memorize what's in here. Use a template. It doesn't matter if you're using a tool like this in Evernote, where you just have a digital template, or you've got like a piece of paper that you've made copies of, but use a template. Here's the other thing. You have to follow the order of these questions. Otherwise, you won't build trust. You'll erode trust.
That is exactly true. By the way, I want to share something. Henry just said, wouldn't the prospect think 30 minutes is just taking too much time out of their day? If you think that spending more than 30 minutes on an initial consultation is too much, let me share this with you. Chris and I have a vendor who is trying to get our business. We had an initial call with them yesterday. It was
Hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15 minutes. I learned so much about who they are, what they offer, and like we went through this discovery process. At the end of the call, it felt like 30 minutes to me.
You know what? Here's the thing. So much trust was built over that call that when that vendor said, now when you start talking to other, providers who provide the same service that my firm does, I was like, why would we do that?
Why would we do that? Like, you already built the trust here. So it's absolutely critical that you understand all of this.
Well, here's the other thing too. If you are doing your initial consultation correctly, meaning you're asking questions, the reason it should take so long is your client's talking. They're telling you what they care about. Here's the thing. This is structured, Gary. You structured this to cover surface level stuff initially because that's, you don't want to go right into that. How much do you owe on your home?
Okay,
right?
So here's the thing. This is about building trust, and you don't build trust by, let me ask you this, Chris. When you first started dating your wife, did you ask her to marry you on the first date?
I waited at least till the third date. No, I waited a year before I proposed.
But it's because you need to understand who each other is. You're building trust. You're building that together. And then at a certain point, you ask. But you don't go in for the most intimate question right off the bat. What you do is you've got to build trust. This is called psychology of sales. This is understanding that there are certain processes that you go through and certain templated questions that you ask before you get to the big ask.
Well, here's a great example. If you look on the template here, you'll see that towards the end, there's a question about who's going to be involved with making a decision for buying the home, selling the home. Now, let's use this as an example. Let's say you never asked that question about who the decision makers are, and you go on a listing appointment and you find out that you're meeting with, let's say, the husband. And the husband says, you know what? The person who's really going to be making decisions, my wife, she's not here right now. So you just wasted both of your guys' time, right? Like you just wasted both of your time by not finding out the information in advance. Now, here's the flip side of the equation. You can't start the call off by saying, who's the decision makers on this thing, yo?
No. You got to build trust. So you start the call off and say, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time today. By the way, I want to let you know we're going to be spending a minimum of 30 minutes together because it's really important that I understand who you are, who your family is, what your ultimate objective is here. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to verify some information that I have about you to make sure that my records are accurate. Is that okay with you?
So you're getting through the surface level stuff. You have this information already because they were a lead in the system. And then you're moving on, though. And here's the thing. They're like, yep, that's right. That's right. You're getting them opened up.
Here's where the first real question comes in. Interest. So current interest, I would ask this question. So, Chris, if over the next 30 to 45 minutes, after you get off the phone, you think to yourself, wow, we covered absolutely everything I wanted to talk about. Do you mind if I ask, what would that look like? What is it that you're currently interested in discovering? And so you need to know what it is that they want to talk about. but don't answer their questions.
Here's the key thing is you're going to ask about their interests. You're going to ask about their experience. You're going to ask them, "Hey, what are you concerned about? You're going to be selling your home. What are some of the concerns that you have? Who's involved with making this decision?"
I can't tell you how many times, Chris, like I would represent first-time home buyers, and I'm like, and I would not ask who are the decision makers. We'd go look at tons of houses. I find the perfect house, and then they're like, okay, now we got to call the parents because they're giving us the down payment, and they got to come down and see the house. It's like, oh my, I just wasted all of that time.
Well, even finding out the objectives, like, well, I really want to sell my home, because you had this happen. A client wanted to sell their home so that she could help pay for her son's college tuition, right?
Absolutely. And so, but until I discover that, until I ask the right questions of what are your ultimate objectives, she said, well, I want to sell my house and move to Houston. Okay, well, why is that important to you? Well, because I want to buy a less expensive home. Okay, so what are you going to do with the additional money? Oh, well, my husband died last year, and I promised him that I would make sure that our son had the appropriate college education. So I need that money to be able to pay for that college education.
Now, all of a sudden, you've got a powerful why to overcome any objection.
Absolutely.
Right.
And here's the other key. The more attached I can be to the ultimate objective of my client, the better I can serve them.
So now you show up on appointment. You're armed with this information. You can prepare. And throughout the entire sales process, we're going to get into that next, you're reminding the client of what the big picture objectives are. You're able to show them specifically how you're going to address their concerns. You wouldn't be able to you'd be just discovering that on the appointment. And here's the thing. Let's say they're interviewing two people. One person shows up and has prepared. They've already got all this information, and they're able to spend the entire time on the listing appointment during the buyer consultation showing them how they're going to deliver, versus the other person is just finding that information out. Who wins?
Me. That is the competitive advantage. When you show up for the first face-to-face meeting and you have all this information, and you sit there and you sit with the client and you show them how well you've taken care of them and how much you listen to them, there's a huge competitive advantage.
Now, when you're using that initial consultation, guys, there's a magic phrase you want to be aware of.
There is a magic phrase. This is something that takes care of uncomfortable silences. Chris, you remember the skill of listening means that I'm listening to everything you're saying and I'm documenting your answers.
Right.
Here's the thing, is that there will be uncomfortable silences because I'm still documenting, I'm still processing what you're saying. I'm not answering immediately. And so this is what you say. So, Chris, that seems really important to you. Would you mind telling me more about that? All of a sudden, they dive deeper, and it continues the conversation. And you have no idea what you can uncover when you ask this question. You will uncover all kinds of incredible things that you would have never known prior to this question.
So someone says, yeah, we really got to get our home sold by the end of the summertime.
Well, okay, Chris, that seems really important to you. Do you mind if I ask, why is that? Can you tell me more about that?
Well, we absolutely have to get into the new school district before my daughter goes into high school. Like we have to be in there by the new high school.
Okay. And then what you can also do with this is, okay, so what happens, Chris, if that doesn't happen?
Well, all of a sudden her chances of getting into the school that she wants to get into are going to plummet.
Oh, so I see it. So it's going to be really, really critical for you to sell your house in the right amount of time and get into a new house so that your daughter can do these things.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm really attached to that. Plus, I also brought forth the danger of what happens if he doesn't do that. So there's so many sales opportunities and skills that we're talking about here.
All right. So the next thing is going through a sales process. I think the most effective way to show everybody how to go through a sales process is to show them one.
Okay.
And I've busted out your listing presentation.
Yep.
And I'm just going to show them the listing presentation. Maybe what we could do, because we're getting to the top of the hour here, is we're just going to scroll through. And I wanted you guys to recognize that this is a structured conversation. Right? And Gary, maybe you could talk a little bit about, like, here's the process, right?
Yeah. So I have a 5-phase listing appointment. Phase number 1 is discovery. This is where I sit down next to my client at the kitchen table and we review everything that we discussed during the initial consultation. Then we get up together and we inspect the home together. This is where I'm using my iPad, my iPhone to document everything that they love about the house, they love about the lifestyle that they've created, and the different features that they think they might need to enhance or repair in the home. Then we sit back down, Chris, at the kitchen table again. whip out the iPad, and we review my marketing proposal, which is what we commonly call the listing presentation.
Which are the slides we're about to look at.
Then we go through the home valuation. This is a conversation of what the home is worth. And this is not about what I think the house is worth. This is about what a willing buyer is going to pay for the home. And then we get to the marketing agreement where we review it and we sign it electronically on my iPad.
So this is the process for getting that seller. Imagine what would happen if we tried to get them to sign the marketing agreement before we showed them the marketing proposal.
It doesn't work. There's a process.
What about this? What if I told them what I think the home is worth before we've done discovery or shown them the listing presentation?
It's impossible because I haven't built trust with them, so they're not going to believe me. So this is all psychological, scientific way to go on an appointment. By the way, this works with buyers as well. We have a buyer presentation. So you go through and you build trust with them. You show them what it's like to work with you. You show them how you outcompete the market and you outperform on their behalf. And then you show them how you do it. And so, and the tactics and the strategies that you employ in order to take care of what they're concerned about. And this is so critical to show them. By the way, one thing I want to point out, as you see here, this is a highly visual presentation, very little text. Gone are the days of bullet points. Gone are the days of me like pounding my chest, talking about how awesome I am. What we do is we show what's in it for them when they work with us.
Let's use an example of one slide. I know this is one of your favorite slides, Gary.
Yep.
How would you talk to the client using this particular slide?
Well, number one is I start out every single slide with a question.
Okay.
And here I would say, Chris, do you like statistics?
They don't lie.
You know what, Chris? They don't lie. And I love statistics because they show how well I'm outperforming the marketplace on your behalf. And the two most important critical things in selling a house is how quickly are we going to sell it and for how much.
Gotcha.
So let's take a look at that. And then we talk about how our firm, our brokerage, our firm outcompetes an average realtor in the same marketplace.
You even go as far as to calculate the difference when it comes to the sale to list price ratio to calculate, here's how we outperform the market. And by the way, this is what it means. Assuming we sell your home for $300,000, this is what it means to you. So each one of these, and then we shift into telling folks how we go about doing it using our marketing plan, staging and photography. We educate them on pricing and preparation so that when we later on have that conversation, by the way, very strategic, right? We educate them on pricing strategy before we share with them what the market's willing to pay for their home, right? They can't even process the price of their home until they have an understanding of pricing strategy. So we have to educate them.
That's absolutely right.
So again, this is a process that's being followed so that we can really eliminate as many potential objections as we can, right?
So here's the thing is that, does anybody here love handling objections? I don't know anybody who does. So what our process does is it actually removes objections before they become objections. And the way we do that is handling the concerns of our clients before they become objections. And the only way to do that is to understand what their concerns are. And we do that during our initial consultation.
So, and we spend in our listing presentation, we spend a lot of time talking about how we're going to market the home because we want to show them. We want to show them what the difference is when they hire us. Here's all the things that we're going to do to market their home. This is how we outperform the market, is by doing all of these activities. So we never run into the question of like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for me, or how that's going to happen? We address it directly by showing them this is what we're going to do, where we're going to market your home, how we're going to market your home, and then how we're going to take care of you. This is actually Gary's listing presentation template. It's available for $967. If you stay tuned for later in today's presentation, I'm going to share with you how you can get it for free. So last part of the professional is expert with tools.
Well, and by the way, that digital listing presentation is one of the tools. But there are tools that we send out before we even meet with the client.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite tools because it treats prospects and leads like clients. And why is that so important?
Well, Chris, because I am preemptively going to go ahead and say any prospect, any lead is already a client. It's called an assumptive close. By the way, everybody wants to feel involved in a community. So we've built a community. It's called our clients. And what we do is we send them our client welcome kit.
The fact of the matter is the lead and a client, they're the same person, just at different points in the buying or selling process.
Yep.
So when you treat, but they're still the same person, which means
Same
you treat
person.
the person poorly in the beginning, you don't get the opportunity to treat them good at the end because
No.
they're somebody else's customer at that time.
Yep.
Right. So it is so important that we start treating treating leads and prospects like clients from the get-go. Now, we have this tool called the Client Welcome Kit, and we send this out as early as we possibly can.
Absolutely. As soon as I have somebody's email address, I'm sending this out.
Right. So you don't have to have an agreement before someone's a client. I mean, I just need to know you want it. We got some kind of connection here.
Yep.
What's included with the Client Welcome Kit? There's just lots of resources. So here's an example. We share home buying resources with them, and this is just links to videos to educate them. We show them some of the advantages in working with us. We make direct offers of help, such as our Home Buyer Direct Access program, where they can get market updates and get private viewings of homes. This is not something, and not this is
what you do.
This is what we do. We're just packaging it up nicely.
Yep.
We talk a little bit about the advantages of selling a home with us, and we provide home selling resources and tools to educate the person who's thinking of selling their home. Again, we make the direct offer of help, making an expert home value analysis, i.e. a listing appointment.
Yeah.
But, we package it up differently, saying we're going to provide a comprehensive pricing assessment.
I think what you're seeing here is we are differentiating ourselves from every other agent so that we get the appointment, that they become clients, that we get a representation agreement signed. Yeah. And this is all through education.
We let them know we're going to send them monthly reports, i.e. our newsletter, so that they're going to get it. We let them know we have contests that they can win, that they have access to our professional network, and how to get a hold of us. Here's the thing. More than anything else, what this Client Welcome Kit represents, it's a referral tool. So in addition to onboarding a prospect to become a client, it also provides our clients a tool to refer us, so that when they have a conversation with somebody who says, hey, I'm thinking of moving, they don't have to say, you should talk to Gary. They say, you know what? Let me forward you Gary's welcome kit. Everything's in there that you need.
Yep.
So in fact, I would send this client, you get this, I would create a client welcome kit and send it to all your past clients and saying, hey, sorry, I'm a little late to the party, but I just created this new resource for all my clients. Please feel free to share this with your friends or family member. If someone's thinking of moving, I'd be happy to provide the same level of service to them, right? So a client welcome kit really becomes a referral tool that you can use to not only help convert more of your leads and prospects into clients, but also to have more of your clients actively refer you with a tool like this. So I got a question for everybody. You guys want to get the templates from today's training?
I already know the answer.
I know you do. So if you'd like to get Gary's listing presentation template, which is valued at $967, if you'd like our client welcome kit template, which is valued at $597, all you have to do is join our club for only $67 a month. You can join our club. You're going to get access to our real estate training library with hundreds of topics and solutions. We talk about listing appointments, Facebook advertising, social media marketing, how to work with buyers and sellers, and even how to take your entire practice online and go digital. There's hundreds of downloadable tools, templates, and resources, saving you countless hours, listing presentation templates, marketing plans, advertising templates, even home buyer and seller guides. Heck, even that initial consultation template is included within our training library. You'll get a digital marketing campaign every single month to help ramp up your stream of leads. So, every month you can be, instead of just sending out one move up buyer program, you can every month be sending out a new campaign that we provide you with prospecting letters, emails, social media tools, social media posts, ad templates, referral tools, really everything you need to bring in more clients to work with. Here's an example of some of the tools that are included. There's a blog post, there's a newsletter, a PDF report, an email, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, a phone script. All of those things are included every month, a new campaign every month to help you generate more business. Included is even a marketing website when you join our club, and we post a blog post automatically on your behalf every single month. There's landing pages and help you to do with lead generation. If you already have a website, don't worry about it. This is meant to complement your existing website, not replace it. You're going to get access to Gary, myself, and our entire team on live training sessions. You can get all of your real estate tech, sales, and marketing questions answered on 2 group coaching sessions every single month. There's no contract. There's no commitment when you join. The club even includes a marketing suite so you can easily send email campaigns and newsletters to your prospects as well as your clients. You can easily cancel the club online anytime, hassle-free with no questions asked. There's no contract. There's no commitment. Now, when you sign up today only, I'm going to throw in an extra special bonus gift. It's our 30-day action plan summary. This is a 30-day sales action plan where you just follow 30 days of activities to help you get more sales and more sales results. And so I'm going to include that when you sign up for our club today, you're going to get that. To join our club, just click on the button that's available there. I believe it's a turquoise button now. It used to be a sunset orange button. For only $67 a month, you're going to get Gary's listing presentation template as well as the scripts. You're going to get our client welcome kit template. And when you sign up right now, you're going to get our 30-day sales action plan. Now, I wanted to share with everybody a little client story, and it comes from Teresa. And she sent us a message that said, I want to say a huge thank you to the Paperless Agent team. Thank you, Gary, Jordan, Chris, and the whole team behind the scenes. We actually tripled our income in 2017 over 2016. We sold over $9 million, all because we followed the Paperless Agent plan. We started doing open houses again. We followed the sales action plan, and we reignited our client contacts. We had been with another office for 13 years and never had this level of marketing material. The saying goes, plan your work your plan. The Paperless Agent gives you the plan. You just need to work it. And thank you to everybody in the private Facebook group. So join the club, get access to all these tools, and start getting the same results that Teresa's getting when you sign up for the program.
All right. And so here's what's going to happen for those of you who want to give yourself this gift and want to expand your opportunities for this year. What you need to do is when you click on the button and you sign up, number one, you won't need to type in any sort of promo code. That's why we created this specific link for you. So you're going to go sign up. It's $67 a month. You are instantly going to get several emails, and one of them is going to have your login information. So you're going to use your email address that you sign up with, and you're going to get a password. When you use that, you're going to be able to log in. You're going to be able to download these resources. You're going to be able to get the listing presentation, download that. You get to customize it. And gosh, it doesn't matter if you're in Canada or if you're here or if you're in Venezuela or if you're in commercial real estate, you get to customize these templates. They are going to work for you. In addition to that, you get the client welcome kit templates, and you get to download that and modify those so that you could start using that immediately. And you're going to receive these emails into your inbox. If for some reason you do not see it immediately, go check your spam folder. And if it's not there and you're using Gmail, check your promotions or your social tab. It might be in there. And worst case scenario, just email us at support@thepaperlessagent.com. And our team is here to help you get logged in and get going. So with that, head on over there to the chat section, click on that button, sign up right now, and we're going to get to Q&A.
Let's do it, Gary.
Okay. So Karen said, is this just for residential or are there commercial templates too? Karen, we actually have a medical sales representative who is a member of our club. And he's a member of our club because he sees that this is about fundamentally taking care of buyers and sellers. It doesn't matter if you're a mortgage broker. It doesn't matter if you're a realtor. It doesn't matter if you're selling cars.
Here's the thing. These templates that you're going to download specifically for the listing presentation template and the client welcome kit, they are in PowerPoint. They're in Keynote. Slight modification is all you need to be able to make it yours. For example, you could take that listing presentation, change the photos so that it's not residential property, put commercial real estate on there, change some of the positioning, but the process of sales is the same. Now, if you look at the process of building trust, the process of asking questions, right, the process of clarifying what the client wants and showing them how to get it, so that we're the logical choice, that is the fundamental of sales, of which all of these tools and resources are built on.
Absolutely. So go do that right now. Next question. Lucilla says, if I sign up today, it covers June and next payment is due the last day of June. So yes, absolutely. It's just a recurring payment on the same day every month. So,
but you can cancel anytime. Let's say you download all this stuff. You're like, oh,
I'm done.
I'm done. That's fine. You're fine. That's fine.
Here's the thing. Ultimately, our ambition is to help you improve your business to where it's a career that you really want to maintain and persist in, and so that you're wildly successful. And like they said, what was that movie? Pedro will make all of your dreams come true.
The Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite. We want all of your dreams to come true. So
well, here's the thing. Here's what I know, guys. I want you to download the listing presentation template. I want you to get the client welcome kit. Heck, I want you to get that sales action plan. I know those resources will help you tremendously as you start to implement better sales technique, as you start to implement better sales practices. But here's what I also know, that when you get a monthly marketing campaign, it just makes it easier for you, because then you'll be more likely to be consistent with your marketing to generate a steady stream of business. Here's another thing that I know. Most of us don't have the best online identities. That's why we created that little marketing website, so you have better representation online. I also know that you're going to come across situations and you're going to encounter times where you get stuck. You don't have all the information that you need. That's why the training library is there. There are literally hundreds of topics. We've talked about sales, listing appointments, working with buyers. Yep. All of it we've talked about. Plus, we've talked about how to do marketing on Facebook, on Instagram, social media. I will, in just a moment, pull up the website so you can see just how many topics we've covered. But I know you're going to be able to get that help, because oftentimes what I've observed is we get into the office and there's a lot of the same old being shared with everybody. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people who don't really know, telling us what we ought to go do. I'm frustrated with that. I have been frustrated with that. So I always look out and seek out specialized knowledge. That's what we've done. We've sought specialized knowledge. We've applied that into our real estate practice, and we share it with you guys. And so if you look at my screen, you'll actually see what happens when you log into the website for the first time. You'll see that you can access the monthly marketing materials under monthly digital marketing campaigns. You'll see that you can access your marketing website under Agent ID site. You can access the marketing suite where it says marketing suite. And then you'll find that there are lots of other programs for you to be able to work through, but go into the coaching club there. And when you go into the coaching club, you'll see that there's this resource library. Go to the resource library and you will be able to go in and just see literally the hundreds of topics that we've done. I'll do a quick sort of scroll through here, but there's years and years and years worth of training for you that you'll have an inexhaustible supply. So you can just check out the categories. We've got branding, CRM, Evernote, Facebook, Instagram, lead generation, how to work local market mastery, which is like farming, working with marketing with online videos, new agent tips, online reviews. I mean, if it's something in real estate, we've talked about it, we've covered it, and it's in there.
What do you call it? Ragu.
Ragu, it's in there.
All right. So next question we have is Mikey says, is the 30-day action plan appropriate for very new agents, or does it assume an already hefty CRM? So the 30-day action plan is appropriate for everybody.
No, I mean,
and you want to talk about a way to launch a career?
There's one category. There's one category of person I'd say that it's not, is that if you're already selling too much. If you're selling too much, or you have a surplus of leads.
Are you selling too much in real estate right now?
Well,
then this program's not right.
Or let's say you have a surplus of leads,
right,
and you're actually looking for more people to convert them for you.
Got it.
This is going to be good for if you're new, or if you're a little bit stagnant. You know, the person who's been in the career maybe 5 years, and you're like, you know what, I'm kind of like bumping along here. That's great for this person.
It's kind of plateaued, right?
Yeah. Right? Or you're just getting started, and you're like, all right. Like I told Gary, what are you going to do if your next meal depends on you getting a deal, right? This is the kind of plan you want to follow. Very specific, very detailed. But here's the thing. If like you're brand new, you got to start acquiring some skills. By the way, if you're brand new, don't try to serve people without a little bit of market knowledge. You're just going to keep running into a wall, and you're going to find that you have objections that you can't overcome because you haven't just done a little bit of homework of getting market knowledge. Unfortunately, what they prepare us for, when we're getting our license, isn't the market knowledge that we need.
No, what they prepare us for is how not to get sued,
right? Which is important.
Really, it is important, but
it's not going to help you get a customer, unfortunately.
Right. All right. I'm going to ask you to do something. So will you pull up our the free website that they're getting when they join? Because Linda says, does this include landing pages?
It does.
It absolutely does. So what I'm going to ask Chris to do is to show you an example of the marketing website that you get. And by the way, this is not meant to replace any current website. This is meant to supplement. And So Chris, you want to take us through this?
Yeah. So it's just a basic way of vastly improving your online identity. You'll put your photo there. Don't put Gary's photo there. Put a bio there. We'll automatically post these blog posts for you every single month, so you don't have to worry about that. You can post your listings here. So lots of listing landing pages, and they look really good. It only takes about 90 seconds if you already have the photography and stuff to make a really phenomenal looking listing page. So you can see an example of the one here. And then the question was about also like landing pages, and I'm assuming they're talking about lead generation.
Probably, yeah.
I'm going to pull up the back end just for a second here because I don't remember what some of the URLs are for the landing pages.
Oh, sure.
So I'm just going to pull up. Here's one. Let me preview this. So you can create these landing pages. We have a bunch of templates for them, but you can offer things like your home value report, right? And so there's a nice looking landing page. There's a whole bunch of different types that are in there. You see that I have a bunch of, here's a home value one. Wait, that's not the one. Oh yeah, we'll preview that one. No, that was the same one that I just looked at. Pull up a different one. So there's all these different templates. There's even like a free form template for you to be able to use. And it's basically just that you can use it makes your website more interactive. It gives you an opportunity to provide different offers of help to people. And so this is one for the market updates, but this is all included with the website that we provide you with. Like I said, it's not an IDX integrated site, so it's not meant to replace your existing stuff. But here's what you'll find is that, when I do a quick search for Gary, you'll find that our site shows up 1, 2, 3.
There it is. And yes, you see my name as 2 different names. I recently changed my name back to my birth name, which is Gary Kreth. There.
Kreth like breath.
So, all right, next question. Ron says, do landing pages allow for lead capture? Abso-smurfly. Look at this. They actually require it. There you go. There's your lead capture, Ron. And then what happens with that lead is you are emailed that all that lead's information, and then you get to respond accordingly. There you go. Let's see. Next question, Chris. Helen says, do you send the client a pre-listing package a day or 2 before the listing presentation? Oh, yeah. In fact, this is something that we train on at the Paperless Agent Coaching Club. So when you become a coaching club member today, you're going to actually be able to see how we teach you to take care of clients before you show up.
Here's the thing, that listing presentation template, when you go in to download the template, there's a whole training associated with what to do, what to say. You'll find that there's a lot more than just the template in there because we realized you needed the scripts and the language to talk about every one of the slides in Gary's listing presentation. So that training is in there. You'll see, and just as a high level, some of the things that we send out, a big part of the initial pre-listing packet, there's actually a topic that we've covered specifically on pre-listing packet. Let me show you right where it is here. I'm not going to find it off. Oh, I guess I could search. Let's see. Can I search? Pre-listing. I know we did a whole training session dedicated to the pre-listing packet. Where is it? I'm not going to be able to find it right now. Maybe if I do this, find pre-listing. Goodness, I got all kinds of stuff up here. Oh, there it is.
Pre-listing package templates. So yeah, you're going to get access to all of this training. You can download these items. You can customize them, send it out. So yes, you get all of that. Shanika says, is this offer just for today? Actually, Shanika, if you want everything that we're giving to you as bonuses right now, you have to sign up during this presentation. And otherwise, if you sign up later, it is the 30-day action plan that you're not going to get. So do this right now. In fact, Shanika, I'm going to respond and make sure that you get that link.
Couple of things. One of the things that's included with the pre-listing packet is we send that client welcome kit. Yeah. Right. So that's a big part of it. We also send our marketing plan out. So if we want to make sure that they know everything that we're going to do. So within the listing presentation, you probably saw that there's a bunch of marketing activity that we noted. We have a 10-page marketing plan that we've typed up and we send that in the pre-listing packet. We also provide a little bit of seller homework. So that's one of the templates that I pulled out while on my screen there was the seller homework. sheet where we have them answer a bunch of questions. And we do that because a couple of things, we want to build trust. And the other thing is that Gary has this concept on time spent, right? So
yeah,
can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. The concept of time spent is the more amount of time that you can get a client to interact with you or to work on things on your behalf, the more likely they are to hire you, because they don't want to do that again for somebody else. So it's like, how do I create a situation to where I get them to engage with me, to do homework, to review my client welcome kit, to review my listing presentation, or my my marketing plan rather, before I even meet with them, and to do that homework and complete it? That is time spent. Plus, it differentiates me so much from my competition that when I show up, I already have enough trust built with them to where I'm already winning.
Right.
I'm winning already by just walking in the door.
Well, it's always interesting when you look at the different factors that are necessary to build trust. So there's two main factors that we want to use in building trust, and they need to see two things in us for trust to be developed. The first one is that they need to believe that we are people of good character, and the best way to be people of good character is to be a person of good character, right? There's not actually much that you can do there other than to speak honestly and be who you are. The next one is probably, unfortunately, even more important, which means people can sneak by on that character issue if they have a lot of competence, right? So the other thing that a buyer or seller is going to look for in us to build trust is what level of competence that we have. And competence, comes from the perception of competence comes from a lot of different things. Competence, unfortunately, doesn't come from just being competent. We really have to, it's like the problem with just being competent is that we want the work to speak for itself, and it doesn't always, because we provide a service.
Exactly.
It's not like it's a big tangible thing. We're providing a service. We might be selling homes, but we render a service. And so they have to trust in the rendering of that service. So a lot of times we have to design points throughout the client experience where they will experience our competence. A great example, going on a listing appointment is the opportunity for them to see us being competent. So are the tools that we provide, or in the communications that we provide in advance. Every communication that we send in advance. I could just send an email welcoming them to being a customer, or I can have that client welcome kit. Which one do you think is going to work better? Which one is going to represent us more competently? A full presentation, or just a little, hey, love that you're a client email? The full presentation is going to represent you better. You're going to look more competent. So you really want to consider those things, and why when we design our process for all of our marketing, for all of our sales, is we want to make sure that is affinity being developed in our character? Can they see who we are and what we're doing? And are they liking us? We do a lot of online video for that purpose, that we want our client, clients will often say, Gary, I've seen all your videos online. I feel like I know you before, they've never met him before, but they feel like they know him. And that's part of the trust and competence building activity that we do, in which we use online video for, right? So when you're really strategic in thinking about it, then you can really fine tune the experience that you create with your customers. Now, let me ask you this question though. It probably seems overwhelming. So where do you start? Well, you start by acquiring skills in the simple things that you can control, like your initial consultation, like your listing appointment, like your client welcome kit. You control those little things that you can, so you can be creative on all the other stuff where you are going to have to step outside your comfort zone. But these things, these sales skills, these sales hacks that Gary's put together, does not require, overwhelming. Oh my gosh, I got to do this new listing presentation. No, download the slides, practice them a little bit. You're good.
Follow the scripts and dialogues that we give you. By the way, it's taken me 21 years to get to this point, to be able to craft a message like this and share it in a way that really produces the outcome that both my client and I want. Instead of spending the next 21 years of your career doing the same, just learn from us. Go sign up for this, get in, dive in. By the way, I don't know if you understood this, but you get 2 group coaching sessions every single month. And if you can't attend, it's no big deal, because we record all of those group coaching sessions and
put them in the training library.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you go to those group coaching sessions. We actually have one next week, next Wednesday. You come, if you can make it live, and you can ask us questions, we'll usually have some information prepared for that session, depending on which one it is. We'll cover questions, or we'll go into a specific technology or tool. Another feature that's in there that I didn't mention is joining the private Facebook group. There's a huge private Facebook group where there's a huge community of people just like you wanting to do the same things, and we're all a part of it. Here's what the amazing thing about our private Facebook group is. There's a lot of referral business that gets transacted there, and no one's trying to get a cut of your commission out of it. Like all these referral
These
services.
referrals are just going back and forth. In fact, in the past 30 days, I've sent out 2 referrals and we have received 3. So it's huge opportunity for you there as well. Okay. Michael Thomas says, on the listing presentation, is it downloadable to be used on an iPad with the customer? Oh my gosh, you can download it.
For it.
It is made for that. Absolutely. It's made for either the iPad, the Microsoft tablet, or the Surface, I guess, an Android, or even your laptop. And if you don't even have these technologies, you can download it to your computer, modify it, and print it out.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to make it work. Now, just as a reminder, everybody, when you sign up for our club, you're going to get our Gary's listing presentation template. You're going to get our client welcome kit template, and you're going to get the sales action plan. Sign up today. Sign up right now before that sales action plan bonus gift expires. Let's get to the next question.
Okay, next question. Salima, or I think Salima, I hope I'm not butchering your name there, says, can we make our website state compliant? And also on the domain, do I register it or do you? So yes, you can customize your website.
To make it state compliant, you just have to have certain things in the footer, right? So you'll want to do that. And then yes, you get your own domain, and then you can point it to the website.
And we show you exactly how to do that. So when you sign up today and you get in there, you're going to go to set up the, what's it called?
It's called the Agent ID site.
ID site. You go and you set it up. Chris, it takes about 5 minutes to set up, 10 minutes maybe?
5 to 10 minutes if you it depends on how long you spend searching for a new domain, but yeah.
Okay. Carol says, is your site secure? Absolutely. Yeah, when you go sign up, it is an HTTPS, which means that it's secure. So you do get, when you sign up on that registration page, it is a secure site. Next question. How do we compare as a new agent the comparative success rate? So in the listing presentation, we talk about how we compare to the competition. This is not about you. This is not about me. This is about your brokerage. So you're taking your brokerage statistics. You're using those statistics, which, by the way, we have training on exactly how to do this. You take those statistics and you put them in there. They're not yours. Okay. Next question. Is there training on social media avenues as well?
There's a lot of training on social media. I mean, that's one of my domains of expertise is online marketing and digital marketing. So we've done a lot of training on everything from YouTube to Facebook to Instagram to email marketing. I mean, we've got a lot of the whole gamut of different tools. Google My Business, Yelp. I mean, there's a lot of tools that we've covered, and you'll find them in the training library there. Just go in there, search marketing, search social media marketing, search video marketing. One of the things that you'll find is that the marketing that we cover is very, what's the word I want to use? It's very real world. So I will take examples of campaigns that I've either run, am running, or that we've worked with one of our clients on to run, or they're running, and we'll just show you, hey, this is the campaign. This is how we set it up. Here's the results that it got, and here's what we suggest for modification on it. And what I find is that there's a lot of training that says, hey, Chris, you should go use Facebook ads, for example. Oh, okay, great. Now what?
So I think what we do is we break down the theory, and there is no theory any longer. No, it's practical use, because what we train on is what we've already tested and what works for us.
I mean, a perfect example is today's presentation. We shared with you an initial consultation template that we use. We shared with you a listing presentation template that we use. We shared with you the client welcome kit template that we use. And so in talking in terms of tools, templates, example templates and stuff like that, is that it helps us, me included, it helps us implement faster and easier, because otherwise we spend time trying to take the theory and apply it to our business. And that's where all the time gets spent is, all right, how do I take this Facebook ad and how do I make it work in real estate? Well, let me show you how do you create a Facebook ad for the purpose of marketing a property, for example. I mean, that's the kind of help that we provide you, is to be able to connect the dots, right? This is what I want to do. This is how I go do it. And so we have lots of video instruction. There's checklists. All of those things are included in the training library when you find the topic that you want to dive into. Yep. And, you'll find that there's also lots of others just like you on the private Facebook group, trying to do the same things just like you. And so if you run into a question like, hey, what's working, what's not working? I mean, you could ask us, but you'll probably get 20 different awesome answers when you go to the private Facebook group and
I like to call it our mastermind group. It's a really big international mastermind group.
And then we've got some really power contributors there. I'm thinking of like Mary Anglin, who's always in there just sharing and all kinds of great examples of
Chip Barkell.
I mean,
Chip has gone from 0 to mind-blowing success in the years that he's been working.
And he contributes. It's amazing how much he's willing to share and contribute to that group. And so you've got a lot of real estate rock stars in there that you can also learn from, not just from Gary, myself, and our team, but learn from other people who are part of the community.
Yep. Next question. Greg says, I like this question. I like the way that Greg is already like marinating on this. Can we post the marketing campaigns to other websites if I have multiple websites?
You absolutely can.
Please do.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, Greg. If you're into marketing, you're going to find, I think it was Teresa in that story that I shared from Teresa. She says that, they never had this level of marketing material. We've got a whole team that's what they do every month, is they're cranking out marketing materials for you guys, and you get to use them in any which way, in any which manner. And we'll even share with you how, like, oh, here's how I'll give you an example. I'm blanking on which clients did this, but we were doing training on video marketing not too long ago. And we were sharing through one of our training sessions on how to produce a news style market update where, you just share, here's what's going on in the Austin real estate market. Yeah. So we shared very simple, short video. This is how you do it. We even have some training that our video guy, Jarrett, who's behind the camera right now, put together to show you guys how to do shot composition. And so we had some clients go out and they did it and they shared it, and it blew me away how awesome it was. And so I need to actually dig that up, because
I need to see that. I haven't seen that.
I'm going to have to message Jordan for that client. So, it was a husband and wife team, right? And, they executed it, and they executed it so well. I was so impressed. They had watched that training session and then went and did it. And so, Greg, you're going to find like the marketing materials that you get, as well as the marketing, modifications and support, you will likely be very happy with.
Absolutely. Lily says, do you recommend joining this club? Is it good for a brand new agent? Oh my gosh, Lily. If I had this training when I was brand new 21 years ago, my career would have looked very different. And in fact, it would have gone like this immediately instead of like.
Here's the thing. You're going to, like everything, you get out what you put in.
Yep.
And what you need to put in is a little bit of attention and time. You don't need to put in hours every single day into this. No, but put a little bit of time in here. Here's what, if you're a new agent, the majority of your time should be spent in just a handful of activities, right? One is you should be developing your market knowledge. Mm-hmm. Two, you need to understand what to go do. And that's what we're providing you with, the tools and resources and education on. This is what you go do. And then you got to spend time doing those things, right? So you need to start building up a network of people that you can market to. And that's what you're going to learn about how to do in that sales action plan, is it tells you, hey, this is the steps that you should go do.
Pull that up one more time.
You want me to pull up my screen?
Yes.
Gary always be kicking me off when I have all these beautiful graphics, that I put up there.
So as Chris is pulling this up, if you have not taken the opportunity and the advantage of what we're offering today, go do it right now. Go sign up and click on that link. Or, if a window pops up, go read about it, sign up right now. Remember, you can cancel at any time. and it's only $67 a month, and you're getting a free website, you're getting email marketing materials, you're getting scripts and dialogues, you're getting, well, go ahead. Take a look at what's on the screen here. You're getting a listing presentation template. This is our listing presentation template that I've spent 21 years perfecting.
Gary, you know what? If I were somebody sitting in the audience on the fence there, you're probably like, gosh, do I really want to do it? Gosh, do I really want to do it? Let me show you something that should make it very easy. You're debating over 67. Should I spend $67? Now, I know it's a monthly membership, but here's the thing. I'm going to show you how easy it is to cancel when you sign up. So on my screen.
That's good, because somebody said, how easy is it to cancel?
So you just go to my account, click on my account, and you'll see that you can cancel your membership. You can do it online. You don't need to talk to anybody. No one's going to harass you. Just click on cancel your membership, and it's going to take you through the process of canceling online. I think it takes 3 or 4 clicks to do so.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right. So you're not putting anything at risk. It's not like we're going to take you $67 and keep you handcuffed in there month after month after month. No, if you don't want to be in the club, we don't want you to be in the club, because that's just not.
We want what's best for you. So, and right now I can promise you, this is what's best for you.
Here's one thing that I do ask that you do when you sign up. Do this favor for me, because out of all the things that you could do, this one is going to have one of the biggest impacts. Log in, and for the first week, spend about 20 minutes a day just going through the site, going through the resources that you have, and starting to implement. We'll start sending you emails from time to time, reminding you to set up different things. But if you spend just 20 minutes a day exploring the different resources and tools, you'll get inspired to start implementing. You'll start implementing. And that, trust me, that's usually one of the biggest obstacles, is not spending enough time exploring the great resources that you have available to you. So yeah, you're going to get in there, and some of you are going to be super motivated to download the marketing materials. Do that. Some of you are going to set up the website, do that. And then once you get that done, start spending time in the tools and the resources and seeing, gosh, I didn't realize that was in here and I could use this. I know we put together this list of 15 different top most downloaded resources, things like the home buyer guide, home seller guide. Heck, there was like a seller update template, and we had all these things that I forgot that was in there, that, you know what, because our team was in there spending some time saying, you know what, everyone's using this and everyone's using this. It was those power users that we have in our community said, you know what, oh, you're looking for a home buyer guide? Download the one from the Paperless Agent, the best one out there, right? Don't go buy one just use the one that we have. So please spend the 20 minutes in there, because you will see a difference.
That is an excellent tip, Chris. Thank you. Mikey says, please don't forget to talk about the commission reduction issue.
Ooh, let's do that right now,
Okay.
Gary. Let's do a little role play.
Okay.
Now, remember, pretext is everything in this. So remember, what Gary has done is we've had the initial consultation. So he already knows, kind of what they're thinking their home is worth and all that stuff, right? He's gone through and shown them everything. We sent them our marketing plan in advance, right? So they know everything we're going to do. We've got a 10-page marketing plan that is down to the detail, everything that we do. You've gone on your listing appointment. You showed them what we're going to do for them. And now, And
I even show them how much more money on average I'm going to earn them than an average realtor.
That was a key step there. There was that one slide where we showed, here's what the market average is, and then here's how we're going to outperform the market. That is the critical step in combating this objection, because you can't combat the objection if you don't have a good reason why you shouldn't, right? So now,
by the way, this script, this specific training is in, will you pull up the offer that they get today? It is in that digital listing presentation template and script. So when you sign up today, you get these scripts, and you even get to watch a video of the two of us role playing this. But we're going to do it for you here anyway. So
how should we do? Oh, all right. So let's say I'll be the client, you be you, and so you say like, where's the point where you?
So basically, at the end, it's like, okay, Chris. So I don't.
Are you ready to move forward? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know about you, but over the last 90 minutes of us spending time together, I feel like we're a really good fit for one another, don't you?
Gary, I do, but I got a question for you, Gary.
Oh, yeah, please.
I've been doing some research, and I've been talking to folks, and a question that I have for you is, will you discount your commission?
Oh, Chris, gosh, I apologize because apparently I did not do a very good job of showing you exactly how much more I'm going to help you earn than an average realtor. In fact, you'll remember that let's assume that we sell your house for $300,000. On average, we're going to earn you $9,750 more than an average realtor. So why don't we go on back to the slide and I can show you again how we earn you that money.
Right. So here's the thing is that you point it back to, oh, this is all the marketing that we're going to do. This is all the stuff that we're going to do. This is all the service that we render. What do they usually say at that point?
They're like, oh, no, you don't
Just
have to
felt
do
like
that.
I had to ask.
I just had to ask. And I'm like, no, I would ask too. So you have any other questions or are you ready to review the marketing agreement?
The fact of the matter is they haven't even seen what our commission is until they've reviewed the marketing agreement.
That's right.
Right.
But they're still going to ask.
Yeah.
Will you reduce it? Do you even know what my fee is?
So, another little sales hack there. Notice how Gary was moving on to the agreement, said, do you have any questions? And then moved on to the agreement because we want to handle as many objections and questions when we can so that we can move on to the next phase. Then, I don't even know what the fee is at this point.
Right.
And next thing you know, Gary's got me signing the agreement because we're reviewing the agreement and signing it. I'm like, and I could say who, but you know what? You respond the way he did, which is to show them. First, you're showing them what's in it for them. 9 G's in this case, right? Selling $300,000 home on average.
Almost 10 G.
Almost 10 G's, right? That's a lot of money. And so 10 G's, not only that, but I'm showing them, but this is how we're going to produce that result for you. Now, in their mind, the equation is, gosh, they're doing a lot of work to make me more money. Probably makes sense that they would have to charge more, right? Yep. They're not going to discount their fee. So it's all psychological. If you don't have a reason why, like if you can't turn around and say, well, gosh, I'm going to make you more money and this is all the stuff I have to do to produce that outcome for you. Yeah, of course you're going to say, I don't know what to say, right? And by the way, differentiation, Gary, tell them about that point. The reason why we do all that marketing is to differentiate against the market. So now, they're
looking at it. So here's the thing. Here's the fact of the matter is that sellers believe that we all do the same thing.
Yeah.
We put a sign in the yard, we put the home in the MLS, and then we pray that it sells. And what we're doing through all of these processes that we're giving you is you're going to differentiate yourself so they don't think that any longer. So then you have already built trust with prospective clients before they even sign on the dotted line. And that's the purpose of all of this. By the way, I did want to let you know, for everybody who is signing up today, you're also going to ask, what you can do is you can email support and they will get you a 3-week getting started plan that will really help you launch into your training here at Paperless.
We have an onboarding process. Get that plan. If you're a new agent, you're probably rearing to go. So definitely email support. I've got Taylor here. Taylor, make sure that anyone who emails that in, we can get that right away because we got a lot of new folks with a little bit of time on their hands that want to get started.
Yep. So with that, I want you to make sure that you take this opportunity. If you have not signed up yet, go click on that hyperlink. Sign up right now. I promise you, you are going to benefit from this and you're going to be so delighted that you did. So,
but do it today do it now because that 30-day action plan, sales action plan expires. And I don't want you to miss out on that feature. Yeah, you could sign up later, but you won't get that. And that would be a bummer.
Yeah. And by the way, if you did sign up, you email support@thepaperlessagent.com and we'll make sure that our team gets you that 3-week getting started plan. So do that right now.
Put that in the subject line, 3-week marketing plan, 3-week getting started plan so that our team can find those requests and expedite them.
Yeah. And Christy says, what do we email support for? Well, any help that you need, but specifically right now when you're signing up, you want that 3-week.
If you want that 3-week getting started plan or that 3-week getting started guide, just email support. Say 3-week getting started guide, please, and they'll get that. They'll expedite that.
Absolutely. All right. And with that, Chris, we're well out of time. I wanted to take a moment and thank everybody who is still here with us. I wanted to thank all of our new Paperless Agent Coaching Club members. We're really delighted to have you here. By the way, we get to see you online during a coaching session next week.
Next Wednesday, Gary, we're going to be talking about the new marketing campaign that's coming out for the month, as well as some little tips and hacks for you to be able to get a better result from it.
Yep. So if you haven't signed up, do so right now, and we will see you online next week.
See you in the private Facebook group. Take care.